because I feel so often small in the world. I was listening to, does anyone listen to the Commonplace podcast with Rachel Zucker? It's a really great poetry podcast, and she was interviewing Roger Reeves and Natalie Diaz. And Roger Reeves, who wrote King Me, was talking about how he found himself, he's an African-American poet, that when a white woman passed him, that he would kind of automatically jump out of the way. And he said he really wanted to interrogate that because he found himself doing that in his poems. And when he said that, I had to like pull over. I was driving, I was like, whoa. Because I was like, I wonder what are the ways in which I was accommodating that in myself and in my body. And so I've been working on these long poems for my second collection and wanting to kind of take up as much space as possible and to kind of exhaust myself with the kind of breath. I think poetry is the organization of breath. And what does it mean to chase that breathlessness on the page? Broken Ode for the Epigraph. And it begins with an epigraph from Erica L. Sanchez, which reads, "Who gave me permission to be this person? Oh, intertextuality, oh, little foyer to my poem, oh, little first and foremost, my little amuse-bouche, meaning mouth amuser, a little glimpse of the meal to come, and sushi, little epigraphs over rice, and if I could, I would add an epigraph over everything. Wait, who says that I can't? I've always been too much, and I'm just now beginning to cherish this too muchness, booming late Baroque rococo in my chest, little shells of scattered light decorating the caves in my poems. I wish people came with little epigraphs tacked on their foreheads. A little foreshadow couldn't hurt. I wish fruits had a few ripe lines above their plew numbers, a little sneaky peeky of the pulp to come. Oh, little cup holder for my quotes. I love how you hover over the house of my poem like a cloud from another book or a bite from another lover, a way to say I just couldn't help myself here. See, I cut out these lines for you like fuzzy flower stems, severed at an angle, and they were briefly dead until I placed them in a vase on top of my poems, prolonging their life again, such moxie. Because if anything, the epigraph is a little clay container of water, and I place these blossoms in a vase of life juice because you're visiting the home of my poem, and I want you to feel special, and I think fresh cut flowers might make people feel sacchariferous, at least they do for me, especially when my mother-in-law walks barefoot into her gorgeous garden and snips the long-lit stems from the sun-bursting forsythia bush, even though we haven't talked in months, even though I wrote a poem about her that hurt her, a poem that started with an epigraph from Natasha Trethewey, and we talked about it over email, then over coffee, and then there was forgiveness, both sides, and that was it. See the flowers. I've always deeply loved Natasha Trethewey's work because her parents are like my parents, black mom, white dad, another type of epigraph, right? Do you understand what kind of permission that releases inside of me? Do you understand how cellular and specific? Sometimes it's important to know about the blood before the poem starts. Who makes up these rules about procedure anyway? I come from clutter. I feel safe under that little liminal space below the title, underneath the stairs, and before that first line. Toy Darricott writes, I am not afraid to be memoir. Yes, I have a great affection for Toy Darricott because she has a similar first name as my grandmother, but spelled differently. And also because she drew her beloved dead fish, Telly, in my copy of The Undertaker's Daughter, writing, Telly loves you, with the bubbles and everything. Well, then I am not afraid to be the epigraph, damn it. I am joyfully trying to break every rule about poem making that I know. I want to wake up and like myself more. I want to wake up and like myself more. I want to wake up and like myself more and believe it each time I repeat it. I want to revel in poems the way Danica Kelly does. Have you heard Danica talk about poems? Do it. Absolute pleasure. I want more of that giddy precision. I want to wake up and address myself like the badass motherfucking epigraph that I am. Hello, epigraph. I am beginning my body before my body begins. I want to start my day with somebody else's words. For example, this morning I started with Ross Gay's The Book of Delights, and I keep grinning and underlining words like delight radar and delight muscle, and that image of stacking delights like pancakes, and I can hear Ross's voice as I read them, his joyous timbre almost sings shouting inside these smile-inducing sentences which linger over the blue length of my day. And I just got back from AWP in Portland, where I heard Jose Oliveira say, lean into length, on a panel about poetry podcasts. I wrote it down, and underneath his words scribbled, possible epigraph. Epigraph, a little foreplay, a little playful forest, I'm safe now so I can play. A little forecast of my mood and tone, a little incantation, little wordy satellites in the white spaces orbiting the sky parlor of my poems. Epigraph my father I've never met, but how I meet and let him go at the beginning of every poem that I write. And isn't lost perpetually dripping sap from the injured trees, bruised or cut in our knuckles as we write? Sticky sap spilling from the wound, pitching to survive the bites. And aren't we all writing the same damn poem over and over and over again anyway? Didn't Jack Spicer allude to that once by translating Lorca? I want to go back to that first epigraph. The easy association will be God, right? So like this: God coos above the waters of the pre-world, scanning over all that gooey potential, a bajillion possibilities, millions of us already there, little epigraphs in the making, gleaming in that first sentence struck light. The imperative big bang of God's never-ending breath. But what if that first epigraph wasn't so spectacular? What if it was just someone messaging me on one of those spit in a tube DNA ancestry sites, saying that they're my second cousin, saying they know how to get in touch with my dad? Oh, the sheer possibility. I cried and didn't know why. Saying that they gave him my number and email address, saying they told him I didn't want or needed any money, but how he still never reached out.